So I just got home from seeing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, one of the most anticipated movies of 2022. Without a doubt, the anticipation for this movie, it rivals nothing. Like it is one of the biggest and most anticipated MCU movies since Endgame. So I just got back from seeing the movie. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the movie. This is gonna be 100% spoiler free. I'm not gonna go into any of the details. Basically, just a plot that you've seen from the trailers, and that's pretty much all I'm gonna really talk about. Just kind of tell my feelings on the movie. How did they do presenting the challenge that is Chadwick Boseman's passing in this movie, and just kind of go over the kind of minor details of stuff we already know. And maybe I'll do a separate spoiler video later on, but I just got back from seeing the movie and I have a lot of thoughts going through my head right now, and this is basically just my non-spoiler review / reaction. So the biggest thing going into this movie was, how were they going to handle Chadwick Boseman's passing, and what would they do to kind of like give confirmation, like how did he die? Like that was like a lot of the questions. Well, I am proud to say that they came up with a fantastic explanation, and they keep it, although I'm not going to spoil anything, but they keep it very simple and real life type of thing. It's a very simple reason why he passed away in the movie. I think Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job. I think they handled that all very well. I think the first scene in this movie is very emotional, brought me to tears personally, and the opening Marvel entrance, I think, was just well done, fascinating. It was a nice silent tribute, and I think they did a very good job executing that. The biggest question going into this movie was, how was the void of the non-Black Panther going to, how were they going to fill that void of not having a Black Panther in this movie? How was Namor going to work? How was this movie in the execution without T'Challa in the movie? Because there was a lot of people saying, hey, you need to recast T'Challa, he's too important. And then there was other people saying, no, just make Shuri Black Panther. And I was in the camp of, well, I think they need to make Shuri Black Panther. And I was going, my premise of this movie, and I had no inside information going into this film, but I've been following the Black Panther movie for a long time. A lot of you guys who watch my channel knows how I feel about Black Panther, how I feel about that first movie. It helped really kind of put my channel on the map for a lot of you guys, and this movie means a lot to me personally. And I got emotionally choked up a lot in this movie because of what Chadwick Boseman did for that franchise, what Chadwick Boseman brought to the character, and what that character did for Black people. Like, it was very important. I don't think people understand that at all, right? Like people just don't get that, right? People look at it like, well, we had Blade before and blah, blah. There was Black Super. Like, they don't understand, right? Like Kevin Feige really put a gamble on Chadwick Boseman playing this character, and it was the first time that a huge studio put the full might and resources behind it to make it an all-Black superhero movie. It was much different than something like Blade, which Blade wasn't even marketed as a superhero movie, and Blade didn't transcend the genre. Like people don't go to other people's houses and go, hey man, you see Black Panther, like you see Blade? No, it doesn't do it. Black Panther took the genre and it transcended its genre and did something for a whole race of people that people just don't understand. So the first Black Panther movie meant a lot to me personally, and what Chadwick Boseman brought to the character meant a lot to me personally. And I thought the execution was fantastic of what they did and what they were able to achieve. And I said, going into this movie, that this movie was going to do a couple things. And a lot of people kind of like battled against me. It's like, no, that's not what's going to happen. But I really did my research. And so much as, after we heard of the passing of Chadwick Boseman, like, what are they going to do for Black Panther 2? And again, you had a camp that said recast, and you had a camp that said, have Shuri take over the mantle. And, with the trailers and everything, we know that that was the case, that Shuri does take the mantle. And I always thought it was very important that we show the struggle inside Shuri. I've said this in multiple videos in the past. You can just go through and look in the channel. And I thought it would be very important if the movie was focused around the character Shuri and her having to deal with becoming the leader of Wakanda, but also dealing with the loss of her brother and how to take on the Black Mantle role. And that in itself is a complex story that is worthy of a film. And that was the way I felt like they always had to go. And to my surprise, my delighted surprise, that was the route that they went with this movie. It was a movie based on this character and her having to live with loss in her life and having to take on the mantle, protect her people, and be that symbol of the protector of Wakanda. And not only that, the movie was complex in the fact that you have this new character, Namor, and although we can nitpick, and I will nitpick, I wish they would have just kept it or Atlantis rather than Tokakan or what Talokan. I much would prefer they kept it the original Atlantis, but because of Aquaman coming out first, and you know how studios are, they get scared, they don't want comparison, you know. I really like the Namor character is a very complex and interesting character in himself. So then you have these two characters, one which is Namor, one which is Shuri. Both of them are good characters, but both of them are struggling with inner demons in themselves, and their ideology kind of conflict with each other. They both care about their people. They both care so much, and they're good people, but yet there's something darker inside them, and they just kind of they're on the same page, but in different like they're on the same chapter, but in different pages. You know what I mean? Like they believe in the same. They have respect for one another. They care about their people. But because of certain differences and beliefs, it separates them. And I found the Namor character a pleasant surprise. I didn't know how they were going to handle Namor. And I've been wanting to see the Submariner in a movie for a very, very long time. And long and behold, I think they pulled it off fantastic. I was just, every time this guy was on screen, I'm like, I am just fascinated, both visually and mentally, just this guy's presence, his story, the way he commands the screen. And I really enjoyed with the conflict of, let's just say, not Atlantis, not Atlanta. Atlanta, that's a city, guys. That's a city. But Atlantis, I really enjoyed what they did with the city of Atlantis, aka Talcan, or whatever they want to call it, and the conflict with Wakanda. And I didn't know if they were going to be able to hold that off over the whole movie, but they were able to put that together. This movie is an emotional, draining experience. Right from the very get-go of this movie, it puts emotions in you that you have not felt since Chadwick Boseman's passing. You know, if you are someone who's been close to it and you've been following this and you're deep into the lore, you know, that opening scene really hits you. And that tone pretty much plays throughout the entire movie. There are things that I did not expect to happen in this movie that happens a little over the halfway point that I'm just like, they're not going there. There is no, Jimmy, tell me they're not going. Jimmy, are they going there? Oh my God, Jimmy, they went there. Like they went there. And I had I could not fathom them going to that place in this particular movie. But by them doing it, it just amplifies that even more. It amplifies the feel of dread and emotion and the feeling of just being trapped and no way out and you know, digging deep into the darkness inside you, because when you lose somebody, it amplifies even more. I talked about this a few times. You know, my mom passing away a few months ago from stage 4 lung cancer. You know, when someone you care about passes away, you know, even if you're silent about it, you're still hurting on the inside. You take it in on yourself, and there becomes like this sorrow that becomes anger. And you see this with the Shuri character, with the loss that she has suffered, that her sorrow, she doesn't know how to deal with her emotions, and it becomes anger, and the anger over, you know, consumes her at some point. And how does she become that leader and that symbol that her people need? And I thought they handled all that just phenomenal in this movie. Just absolutely phenomenal in this movie. I can't praise this movie enough. When you look at the phase 4, you know, we all sit here and we talk about phase 4, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, the stuff that is She-Hulk that we try not to talk about. But we look at phase 4, and phase 4 has kind of been like up and down. And for me, Wakanda Forever is like on the 10th floor. And I think every other film in phase 4 and series in phase 4 is like on like level 1. You know, it's like we had some good movies. I enjoyed Doctor Strange, right? I enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home. But like Wakanda Forever takes it above and beyond. You know, there were like little gags, but nothing jokey. It was a very serious toned movie, and it wasn't the same traditional, you know, MCU Thor being an idiot type movie that we've gotten so accustomed to. And I appreciate that Ryan Coogler brought, you know, Ryan Coogler is just a fantastic director. Let me just say that. Coogler is a fantastic director. This dude has not made a bad movie. He is like 4 for 4 right now, guys. He is 4 for 4, just loving everything this dude is putting together. And I think he just knocked this movie out of the park. Like I said, this movie had a lot of stuff it had to tackle. It really did. It had a lot of stuff it had to tackle, including introducing new characters, dealing with the real-life tragic death of Chadwick Boseman, and also establishing a new Black Panther for a new audience, yet make it make sense to the plot. And I think Ryan Coogler just knocked it out of the park. Like I said, that first movie did a lot for a lot of people, especially a whole race of people that wanted to see themselves represented on the screen, and for a studio to have faith enough to put that massive big budget behind it. And with Ryan Coogler, like Ryan Coogler was dealt a really, really shitty hand with this movie, and any other director could have easily cracked under the pressure. You know, just like in Fast 7 when Paul Walker passed away, you know, I believe it was Justin Lin, right? Was it Justin Lin? I could be wrong. It might be James Wan. I don't remember exactly who directed Fast 7. But whenever you're dealing with some kind of real life situation like that, it's really hard to try to go above that and really kind of like take that and kind of, you know, not only have the movie come out, but for the movie to be good and for the movie to stand on its own, you know, to really kind of like just get past all that. It takes a really good director, and Ryan Coogler, he's a fantastic director. Fantastic, like one of the top 5 working directors today, and the way he handled Chadwick Boseman's death in a very classy manner, yet explained it well enough. This movie, I think, is phenomenal. It does have its negatives. I don't want to come off like, oh man, he's just loving this movie. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I can sit here and talk about some of the CGI I didn't necessarily care about. I could talk about, you know, just really my nitpicks are like the CGI sort of thing. Stuff like I wish it was called Atlantis instead of Talcan or whatever. But those are just minor nitpicks. But to me, I think this movie is so good in its message that it has projected that it transcends any of the minor issues that this movie might have. So anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts on it. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I think it's a phenomenal movie, and I am more than happy to do a full-on spoiler review if you guys smash that like button and tell me, do you want the spoiler review? Leave those comments in the comment box below, guys. Until next time, as always, I'm Robert Storms, and that's my opinion.